Okay, is there anyone in the NBA you think is overrated, gets too much hype that he doesn't deserve?
I think Luka overrated.
You think Luka's overrated?
Yeah.
When he first came into the league, cause I'm like, oh, what is it? Step back threes, and they be short as hell. You shoot like 27%, 30% from them.
It was their assistant coach. He started chirping in the first quarter, so they didn't like when I chirp back. Now they said play basketball. If they're going to chirp at me, I'm going to chirp back. I ain't scared.
Luka Doncic is one of those rare players who sparks strong opinions. People either cheer for him or root against him. His talent is undeniable. Whether he's hitting clutch shots, dropping wild assists, or dancing around defenders, Luka has a way of making fans admire him or resent him if he's torching their favorite team off the court. Luka's personality shines just as bright. He's known for his laid-back charm, his sense of humor, and now his proud new role as a father to baby Gabriella. All of that makes it even easier for people to connect with him. But it hasn't all been praise. Critics have taken shots at Luka for not showing enough hustle on defense and for his habit of arguing with referees a bit too often. Those moments have stirred up some hate, even among NBA insiders. Still, it's hard to ignore what he's doing this season. Doncic is putting the Dallas Mavericks on his back and carrying them with performances that remind some of James Harden's solo run with the Houston Rockets. In fact, former NBA star Jamal Crawford called out the double standard in how Luka is treated compared to Harden during those years. On a recent episode of Inside the NBA, Jamal Crawford raised a compelling question. Why does Luka Doncic get praised for carrying the Mavericks? While James Harden was heavily criticized for doing the same with the Rockets, Crawford pointed out that the numbers don't lie. What we're seeing from Luka now is nearly identical to what Harden did in Houston. He reminded fans that Harden led the Rockets deep into the playoffs, even reaching the Western Conference Finals multiple times and coming within a single game of the NBA Finals. So why is the narrative so different? According to Crawford, Harden deserves more credit for his years of dominance. The skill, the leadership, the production was all there now. It's true that Harden faced criticism, especially for some late-game playoff performances that didn't live up to expectations. But even then, the issue wasn't necessarily his results. It was more about his style of play. The isolation-heavy offense, the foul hunting, the pace, rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way. Even while he was racking up MVP-level numbers, in contrast, Luka's flair, passing creativity, and charisma seem to earn him more grace even when he shows similar defensive lapses or frustration with refs. It's a classic case of how perception can shape a player's legacy. Of course, it's not like Luka Doncic is immune to criticism. NBA fans can be brutally impatient, especially when it comes to star players. If they think a player is stuck at the same level for too long, they'll call it out again and again. Devin Booker, the tension between these two stars has been building for years. Whenever the Mavericks and Suns face off, you can expect fireworks. His tendency to talk trash only when the game is already in the bag. That tension exploded again during a fiery playoff matchup, when both players got into a face-to-face confrontation. Late in the fourth quarter, after the Game 1 that ended in a Mavericks loss, Luka was asked about the heated moment. He shrugged it off, saying there were no hard feelings, but he couldn't resist a subtle jab. It's a competitive game. It's all good, Luka said. Just next time, don't wait until there's 3 seconds left to talk. While Doncic clearly doesn't mind some friendly trash talk, it's also clear he expects it to come when the game's still on. The rivalry between Luka and Booker continues to add some serious spice to the Western Conference battles. Luka Doncic has made it clear if you're going to talk trash, do it while the game is still up for grabs. He's called out Devin Booker before waiting until the final moments to start chirping. In fact, after the Suns blew out the Mavericks, in Game 5 of the 2022 Western Conference semifinals, Luka famously said, "Everybody talks when they're up." That moment set the tone for one of the NBA's most entertaining rivalries. Booker, for his part, embraces the competition. He's not backing down, it's just two competitors going at it, Booker said. People complain about how friendly the league is now. I've got no issue with Luka on or off the court, but when we're out there, it's game time. While Luka thrives in these intense moments, there's one part of his game that continues to draw criticism: defense. Opposing teams often look to exploit him on that end of the floor. Take a recent game against the Clippers as an example. Russell Westbrook noticed Luka guarding him, immediately told his teammates to go at him. Westbrook, known for his relentless energy, took advantage driving straight at Luka, who was caught sagging off and scoring with ease. It's a pattern teams are starting to lean into. Luka's offensive brilliance is unquestionable, but his defense is still a work in progress, and savvy veterans like Russ know exactly how to take advantage. Westbrook didn't stop at one successful drive. He kept pressing the attack. On the next possession, he drew a foul on Luka Dončić and hit one of 2 free throws. Shortly after, Russ backed Luka down in the post, had his initial shot blocked, but stayed with the play, grabbed the offensive rebound, and finished the layup. But Westbrook didn't just attack, he made it personal. After scoring, he turned and pointed directly at Luka, yelling to his teammates, "Go after him. He's a once-in offensive player." But his defensive game hasn't kept up. If Luka wants to lead the Mavericks deeper into the playoffs and chase a championship, improving on defense isn't just optional, it's essential. In today's NBA, superstars are expected to impact both ends of the floor. Scoring 30 points a night is great, but shutting down opponents when it matters, that's what defines greatness. Even those close to the Mavericks haven't shied away from pointing this out. Basketball Hall of Famer Tim Hardaway Sr., father of Dallas guard Tim Hardaway Jr., stirred things up recently when he made some blunt comments that likely didn't sit well in the Mavericks locker room. In a recent appearance on The Carton Show, Basketball Hall of Famer Tim Hardaway Sr. didn't hold back. He openly criticized Luka Dončić and Kyrie Irving for what he believes is a lack of leadership on the Dallas Mavericks. "They're missing a leader out there," Hardaway said. "Luka is not a leader, and Kyrie is not a leader. Jalen Brunson was a leader. A leader sets the tone by playing defense, leading by example, doing the work, and following through on his words. Those two, guys Luka and Kyrie, are phenomenal scorers, but they're not leaders." The comments were bold and controversial, coming from someone whose son, Tim Hardaway Jr., is in that very locker room. The remarks carried extra weight. While some fans saw his critique as insight backed by proximity, others questioned the wisdom of making such statements publicly. Unsurprisingly, the comments caused some stir, with questions arising about how they might affect team chemistry. However, the Mavericks were quick to insist that there was no fallout behind the scenes, and that mutual respect among players remained intact. Still, the spotlight on the team's leadership or lack of it grew even brighter when it was announced that Luka would sit out the following game against the Grizzlies. That gave Dillon Brooks a chance to throw some shade, telling reporters, "It goes to show sometimes they just ain't ready." Luka Dončić was coming off a thigh injury he suffered in the third quarter of a game against the Pelicans, which sidelined him temporarily until the discomfort eased. But if there's one thing Luka thrives on, it's physical, high intensity. Basketball land, a little trash talk doesn't hurt either. Enter Dillon Brooks, the NBA's self-proclaimed supervillain. Never one to back down from stirring the pot, Brooks is constantly trying to get under the skin of his opponents. After a recent game, he took aim at the Golden State Warriors, claiming they still carry a grudge against Memphis. "They don't ever forget, even when they won the championship, they were still talking about us," Brooks said. "They can't wait to play us. We live in their heads, but that kind of energy, it doesn't rattle Luka. In fact, it seems to fuel him." In a recent showdown against Brooks' new team, the Houston Rockets, Luka put on an absolute clinic. He finished the night just 1 assist and 1 rebound shy of a 40-point triple-double, racking up 41 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. It was a clear message. Talk all you want, Luka's going to do the damage on the court. After the game, Luka spoke to reporters, offering a cool and confident response. After the game against Dillon Brooks' Rockets, Luka Dončić made it clear he enjoys the challenge. He told reporters that he loves playing against Brooks and respects the energy he brings to the court. "At the end of the day, that's what the game is all about," Luka said. Shortly after that, the Dallas Mavericks picked up a big win over the Utah Jazz, and Luka reached a milestone that solidified his place in NBA history, his 60th career triple-double. But the celebration didn't come without controversy. During the third quarter, tensions flared between Luka and Chris Dunn, who had been tasked with guarding him. After a particularly slick move by Luka, Dunn didn't appreciate the showmanship and confronted him. Luka responded with a smirk and a laugh, clearly not backing down. That moment quickly escalated, and both players were hit with technical fouls. A video of the incident went viral, especially Luka's reaction when he turned to the refs and said, "I didn't do nothing. He's just mad because I'm busting his ass." After the game, Luka gave his take on what happened. "There was a little pushing, sure, but I didn't do anything to deserve a tech. He put a finger in my face, and I just laughed. So, I really don't know why I got one too." For Luka, it was just another moment in a high-stakes, emotional game, the kind of moments that come with competing at the highest level. But not everything has been smooth sailing for the Mavericks, following a rough collapse against the Los Angeles Lakers. Head coach Jason Kidd didn't hold back in his post-game comments, calling out his team's immaturity and their tendency to spend too much time complaining instead of closing games. It wasn't hard to read between the lines. Jason Kidd's post-game comments were clearly directed at his young star. Luka Dončić, after a tough loss to the Lakers, where Dallas let a lead slip away, Coach Kidd publicly addressed the team's immaturity and Luka's ongoing issues with officials. He explained why he didn't call more timeouts during the Lakers' run. "I'm not the savior here. I'm not playing mime watching just like you guys." He didn't stop there. Kidd stressed that if the Mavericks want to be real title contenders, they'll need to grow up mentally and physically. "There's no young team that's ever won a championship," he said. "We've got to mature. We've got a lot of new pieces coming back, but if we want to win at the highest level, we can't get distracted by the whistle." It was a clear call for Luka to shift his focus away from the officials, and Kidd followed that up with a valuable piece of advice. Referees aren't going to stop the game and change calls. You've got to understand the right moments to talk to them. If we're arguing during live play, we're just putting ourselves at risk. While Kidd's words were pointed, they weren't without purpose. They reflected what many around the league have noticed. Luka's passion and competitiveness are elite, but learning how to manage that energy, especially when it comes to officiating, is the next step in his growth too. His credit, Luka Doncic, seems well aware that his habit of arguing with officials has gone too far. It's not just an NBA issue. He's faced similar criticism during his time with the Slovenian national team, both at Eurobasket 2022 and the 2023 FIBA World Cup. Once the dust settled, Luka's response to Coach Jason Kidd's comments was brief but telling. "Kidd's got a point. I've got to stop doing that." It's this ability to take constructive criticism that sets Luka apart. It's one of the key reasons he's continued to grow and evolve as a player year after year.